Hello everyone! Blue Star Saber here once again to discuss another Star Wars series, but it's not any Star Wars series. It is arguably, hopefully, going to be the Star Wars series. Star Wars Obi Wan Kenobi! I am joined here with my partner in crime, Lucky Cheese 7.
Got a few words I would like to share here, and I'll just say this simply put. Disney, y'all fucked up. Y'all fucked up. Big time.
Oh boy, that's not probably her best start to this, but
Of course not. Of course it's not the best part to this. I'll get into full details why. That's not the reason why a lot of you guys would think is the reason. I bet Blue probably has an idea, but
let's see. But anyway, but yes, for Disney, Star Wars has been going through some rather interesting and some chaotic turns over the years. After purchasing, of course, the Lucasfilm from George Lucas, owning the rights to Star Wars and Indiana Jones, and of course Willow, which is now also beginning a new Netflix, Disney Plus series and all that stuff. Let's see. From starting off with perhaps the much beloved, though perhaps criticized retro Force Awakens to and Rogue One to perhaps the controversial Last Jedi, and the flop that was Solo to the chaotic Rise of Skywalker to possibly gaining back a bit of the fan base with The Mandalorian's first two seasons before possibly also angering them after the Book of Boba Fett. We're now go to the next major Star Wars project. Star Wars Obi Wan Kenobi, the long-awaited, mini-series set between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, 10 years after the events of the former, in which we see what Obi Wan Kenobi has been doing in this time, and perhaps reveal some questions, or maybe that some people have been wondering what he's done and what kind of adventures he might have had at this time point. And which has got many fans excited, for this means the return of the much beloved actor Ewan McGregor, who reprised as well as Obi-Wan Kenobi, because depending on how you feel about the prequel trilogy, there are two things that were universally praised. The performance of Ewan McDermott as Palpatine and all that stuff, but the casting choice that everyone loved was Ian McGregor as Obi-Wan Kenobi. That was so good that for some people that he is the definitive version of Obi-Wan Kenobi over the iconic Alec Guinness. And now finally, after many years, which many was initially hoping that it would be a movie, but it's finally become a Disney Plus series with 6 episodes, and 2 of them are now just premiered and all that stuff on Friday as a treat to Star Wars fans. And boy, I'm ready to discuss this with my friend here, Lucky Cheese 7.
First of all, we had an episode 8 and episode 9. I'm pretty sure we're still stuck on that cliffhanger with Rey handing Luke the lightsaber, and we don't know the tale that happened after that. I'm pretty sure we're just stuck there. There was no Last Jedi. There was no Rise of Skywalker. It was just Rey handing Luke his saber back. That was it.
Okay, and what's second?
Second? I don't know.
Well, let's suppose a little bit of details about this series. Originally, the series was originally supposed to be, I believe, one of the anthology films. that let's see, Disney were planning to do under the Star Wars banner, but after the flop of Solo, they scrapped all the remaining anthology films. I believe Boba Fett was supposed to have one, and I believe also Obi Wan Kenobi. But many people have still been clamoring for like Obi Wan Kenobi to return in some form, and Disney decided that with their new streaming service Disney Plus, they finally had the means of doing it. After the success of The Mandalorian, it's clear that Star Wars seemed to have a future within Disney Plus. Though granted, some people are beginning to question the quality of Star Wars TV show, Disney Plus series with when the Book of Boba Fett came out with some various reviews. Now, mixed responses. Now, I personally liked many of the episodes individually, but will admit as a whole narrative, it left a lot to be desired. Let's see. I mean, I liked episodes 2 and episodes 5 and 6. I think were great, though the former two were mostly focused on characters outside of Boba Fett and felt like episodes of The Mandalorian. I'm not sure if you've seen the Book of Boba Fett, Lucky Chi.
Well, for anyone who's curious about my thoughts. Well, I can't say anything because I haven't seen Book of Boba Fett. So whatever I say right now is kind of irrelevant.
Okay, so I've possibly given you some spoilers.
Okay.
But anyway, well, I guess best not to talk anymore in case you do actually go into seeing it. And you probably might want to, Lucky Chi, because that's, in a sense, it is Mandalorian Season 2.5. Especially with its last 3 episodes.
He's trying to persuade me. We'll see how well that works.
Well, you're probably going to need to watch it because you're probably going to like, okay, how on earth does this happen in Season 3 when this happened at the end of Season 2? You're probably going to need to do it just for that. Not to mention, there's quite a few characters in the 6th episode that you probably wanted to check out.
See.
That have, relations to a certain animated show. But no. But anyway, we're here to discuss Kenobi, and after the long related to turn, we finally got it with not just with the return of Ewan McGregor and of course Hayden Christensen with this mysterious second showdown they had before the events of A New Hope. How does this showdown happen? Well, I think it's best that we get into the description of the first 2 episodes, in which at first, we get a sort of like a the first time that Star Wars show has done this, going like, previously in Star Wars or a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away. We get like a 4-minute montage of many of the events that happened in the prequel trilogy, summing up to what happened with like the relationship of Obi Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, how they became master and student. How he fell to the dark side. How he lost Padme and all that stuff, and how he became the medical suit thing. In many ways, it was like a 4-minute summary of all the key events that you needed to know in that trilogy in order to get you speed up to this, if you've never seen like the prequel trilogy before. Which I would say
that I cried. I saw that, I was just like, oh my god. Yes. And I didn't cry because it was horrible. I cried because I was like, jeez.
Mm-hmm. I'm just smiling at the fact that they put and you got a bit of a cameo Jar Jar in that flashback. I just gotta love.
Yeah, FYI, guys, he's the biggest Jar Jar fan out of the entire.
Well, no, I wouldn't say I'm the biggest Jar Jar fan, but I definitely say I like him more than quite a lot of other people.
So, if anyone here hates Jar Jar, just know I'm not involved.
But anyway, the episode begins with like a flash. With like a Jedi Master training a bunch of Jedi younglings and all that stuff, only to then be attacked by 501st Clone Troopers as she tries to battle their way out. of the Jedi Temple. The Jedi Master is killed from fighting some clones and did some pretty cool moves. But the youngling dies as the younglings attempts to run and escape, running through like a bridge where we see below all the Jedi that are fighting the clones getting slaughtered and all that stuff. Let's see and all that stuff. As we then cut to 10 years later, where the Inquisitors, are now trying to but first, hold on, I just want to try and find out the actor who played that Jedi Master. From what I can tell,
Are you talking about? No.
The woman one. Let's see it, Han. Let's see it, Han. Let's see appearance. Let's see, cast. Like type. Let me see if okay, there we go. Let's see. The Jedi Master, I believe, is Minaris Fetia. I believe. Let's see, an original Jedi Master. Let's see, and she's portrayed by Ming Koyu, I believe.
It's a foreign name for if anyone's curious.
Yeah. Let's see who has actually appeared in quite a few episodes. Who has actually appeared? Let's see. I think it's a stunt double for the character for like Fennec Shand. The mercenary, the assassin that now works for Boba Fett.
Yeah.
So yeah. So yeah, she got to play as her own Jedi Master for that. Let's see, nice little cameo and all that stuff. But anyway, the Inquisitor. We then cut to Tatooine, where 3 Inquisitors are searching for the Jedi, and two of them are the well-known Grand Inquisitor and the 5th brother, who are making their live-action debut in Obi Wan Kenobi, who are then portrayed by. The Grand Inquisitor portrayed by Rupert Friend, a British actor, screenwriter, and director, but who I'm not quite familiar with his work, though I think many people like him, though I do know when the trailer first came out, many people didn't quite like how he was designed, though I think from what the show has shown, they've managed to adjust the issues with like the teeth, I guess, that they had. And the 5th brother is portrayed by Sue Khan, who I believe an actor who played as Han Lu in the Fast and Furious franchise, which I have never watched. While this new Inquisitor is called Reva Sananda, who is also known as the Third Sister, portrayed by Moss Ingram.
Yep.
Who's not best known for playing the role of Jolene in the Netflix miniseries The Queen's Gambit from 2020. Anyway, they are here to interrogate a Jedi. They're here to find for a Jedi, as they heard rumors of like a Jedi helping this bartender from a scuffle or something like that. And with the Third Sister's rather aggressive actions, the Jedi reveals himself, someone by the name of, I believe, Navera or something, or Nira.
Something along those lines.
Yeah, Nari, yeah, played by Benny Safdie.
Yeah.
Let's see. Who I have no. Let's see who. Let's see. Let me just take a look at his Wikipedia page. Let's just see if we can find his Wikipedia page. Nari. Let's see. Let's see. Benny Safdie. Let's see who's. Okay, let's see. Nothing I've really known for. Nothing I've really known for and all that stuff. But anyway, let's see. The Jedi manages to escape due to the fact that the third sister was being reckless, and the Inquisitor ended up, stopping her from killing him because they wanted to interrogate him and all that stuff. The Inquisitor telling him to stop, to the third sister, the Grand Inquisitor telling her to stop this search with Kenobi. As we finally cut to Kenobi as he is part of this sort of butchering thing of a giant sort of like sand creature, manta-like thing. Where they're cutting the meat of it, and all that stuff, possibly to sell and all that stuff to like, to the people of Tatooine, or maybe or maybe to like some trade to another part of the galaxy. But as you can see, he's trying to keep a low profile, not interfering when the man who owns the whole operation bullies this one person's only having like half the pay he should receive and all that stuff. But who is just trying to keep a low profile, though, of course, trying to do some things for Luke, such as buying him a toy from a Jawa, and then keeping watch over him from a distance as we see a young Luke Skywalker trying to pretend to be a pilot. On his home in Tatooine, in which we see in which we also see his uncle, Uncle Owen Lars, played by Joe Etikin, who has reprised from his role from the prequel trilogy, who's become a much more big-time actor since then, which many people are glad that he's back. Eventually, he leaves the toy ship that he bought, which turns out to be the same one from, I probably should mention, A New Hope. So that's an interesting nod of continuity. Luke's toy ship that you saw him playing in New Hope was bought by Obi Wan Kenobi. But anyway,
is that pandering to a degree?
No, I think it's a nice little cameo thing.
Yeah.
No fan service, but anyway. Obi Wan Kenobi is confronted by the Jedi that we saw earlier, asking him to join the fight. But Kenobi, only concerned of watching over Luke, thinks that the fight is done and then they're lost. No longer thinks that is a priority and tells the Jedi to hide his lightsaber in the desert and just try and live a normal, quiet life. Anyway, in which later Kenobi ends up, going back into town with like his little camel thing, which I forgot to mention, which he's been feeding and all that stuff. The Inquisitor, Owen comes to confront Obi-Wan for the toy he's bought, telling him that Luke doesn't need any charity from him and all that stuff, with like Obi-Wan trying to say, Owen, that you can't just keep him as a moisture farmer and that there's a bigger galaxy that he needs to explore. And when the time comes, he will be trained once he awakens his abilities to the Force. But Owen refuses, pointing out like how Obi-Wan trained his father and got him killed and all that stuff. So which of course, silences Obi-Wan because he still feels guilt about that and all that stuff. But as we end up seeing, the fifth brother and the third sister have returned, trying to find the missing Jedi. The fifth brother trying to be a bit more patient, while the third one being a bit more aggressive, cutting off someone's hand, and then eventually trying to threaten Owen Lars and all that stuff, threatening the citizens that if they do not reveal the Jedi, the man will die. Even though Owen Lars tries to say that he has no love for the Jedi and all that stuff. With Obi-Wan now trying to debate whether or not he should intervene and all that stuff. But before the Inquisitor, the third sister can kill Owen, the fifth brother stops her and then takes her away. Angry and says that you've still not kept your promise to the Grand Inquisitor about this Obi-Wan obsession, as she feels like searching for this random Jedi is beneath them, as they're now just been looking for the scraps, if you will. Obi-Wan thanks Owen for not ratting him out and all that stuff, but Owen says that he didn't do it for him, he did it for like his family and all that stuff. So there. Meanwhile, we cut to Alderaan, which, to my surprise, we end up seeing the young Leia Organa, though at first she ends up tricking her mother, who is now portrayed by we see Simon Caswell, who now portrays Organa. Who's replaced Rebecca Jackson Meadows, who played her in episode 3. Though they clearly found an actress similar to her, I think. As at first she tricks her mother into thinking that it was some sort of, I can't tell if it's an alien or some sort of different brand of humanoid, but I'm assuming it's probably more of an alien due to the markings around her. Granted, in some Star Wars cultures, there are some sort of like markings around certain humans, like Quillen Voss, I believe. So yeah, Leia is currently trying to try to get a stand-in for herself as she's going out to like explore like the woods and all that stuff. Let me just get part 1 of Kenobi up again. As she has this little, ladybug-like droid called I'm trying to find what its name is again. Let's see, appearances. Let's see first. I'm trying to find what the droid's name is. Is it Wayo? What's... I don't remember what this droid's name is. Okay. Yeah, here it is. That's the other focus. Okay. Low LA-59, also known as Lola. A sort of tiny toy droid and all that stuff. In which she is watching the ships and all that stuff leave port and all that stuff. Though her mother's not happy with her behavior, even bans her from even takes the toy off her, though she tries to hug him to get the toy back. But they're here to greet like Bail Organa's her and Bail Organa's relatives. Particularly like the one that mostly known is like I believe Nino Organa and hold on. I think is it Nino Organa? Yes. The son of Duke Caio Organa and Duchess Celia Organa. All that stuff, who have come to visit all that stuff. Hold on, let me just get And during this, Leia, Bail has a bit of a talk with like his cousin, I believe, was it brother, about the Empire and the slavery thing, though he's not really interested, saying save the politics for the Senate kind of thing. As he's not here to talk that, as he just seems to be more concerned about his profits, while Leia ends up having an argument with Nino Organa after he insults like the service droids. And I should probably point out that we had cameos of C-3PO and R2-D2 here, I believe. So that was nice. After thanking a droid, Leia thanks a droid called YO. And we can see the full-on sass of Leia pointing out how he must be a lower life form. With then Nino trying to shoot back about how she's not a real Organa, but then ends up insulting him about how he's afraid of his father. Getting reprimanded by her mother and tries to get reassured by her father Bail that he understands how she feels and all that stuff. And tries to assure that someday she will, end up ruling Onderon, and then you'll get to boss your cousin around and all that stuff. So, yeah. Though granted, Leia doesn't really want to rule or become a senator kind of thing, even though their mother...
That's a little ironic, though, given later events, which we won't name.
Yeah. But anyway, she eventually ends up trying to leave once again before she can apologize. However, unknown to her, she was being watched by a bunch of mercenaries or kidnappers. let's see, with the main, let's see, one I believe is a Felin, the Black Suns leaders and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Sizzle, I believe, the most famous one of his kind is. And another one, but the leader is a human called Vec Nakora, portrayed by a flea, also known as Michael Peter Balzari. I think it's a part of some sort of rock band called Red Hot Chili Peppers. Alice and a Sabrak end up kidnapping her before, though she tries to flee, and I believe a Alderaan guard is shot. Bail Organa, having nowhere to turn, contacts Kenobi to try and ask him to come save her. However, Obi-Wan refuses, as it says his priority is like Luke and all that stuff, though Bail says that Leia is Luke's sister and all that stuff, but Obi-Wan still refuses, clearly thinking that his failures, he's not up to the tasks, and thinks that Bail should be better at sending a bounty hunter or one of his own guards after her. Eventually, Obi-Wan comes back to the town, and only to find that the Jedi that he met the other day has been hung and is now dead, as he looks on sadly. And then ends up returning to where the meeting point where he sees his Jawa. I think that's also where his house is, a cave, where he's currently living in this cave, because I forgot to mention that he's not living in the house that we've seen in New Hope just yet. Instead, he's living in this cave. I should also probably point out that he had a bit of PTSD of like some more scenes from the movie and all that stuff. And even asking for his master Qui-Gon for like a, to try and call him, due to the fact that one of the last bits was Yoda saying that Qui-Gon left him training. But only to find that Bail is there, saying that he can only trust like Obi-Wan to that, and he knows that while he failed Anakin and all the past, and they all made mistakes. Try and just do this. Try and do not fail Leia and all that stuff, and just do this one last mission, which then Obi-Wan ends up digging from the sand his own lightsaber and Anakin's, in which he left buried there. Takes his lightsaber and is then to go on a mission to rescue Leia, but it's revealed that as well as the episode that the kidnappers are working for the third sister, who knows of like Obi-Wan's relationship with Bail Organa, and is using Leia as bait to kidnap Leia to draw out Obi-Wan so that she can find him for Lord Vader, if you will. And that ends the first episode. So, do you want to get our thoughts on the first episode, Lucky Chi, out of the way, or would you rather we go to episode 2 summary next?
Let's do episode 2 summary, then we can kind of like merge our thoughts together.
Fair enough. But anyway, let's see. I should probably mention, even though I said episode 1 and 2, it's been described as part 1 and part 2, because this is being regarded as like a full-on story, no individual episodes like you got with The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett, if you will. But yeah.
Yeah, so if we're going to be theoretical here, you could technically call this part 1 and part 2 episode 1.
Yeah.
Kind of absolutely technical here.
Mm-hmm.
But I'll let him decide what he wants to call it.
But anyway, we begin with Obi-Wan arriving on the planet Daiyu, where Organa told Obi-Wan where Leia was and all that stuff, as they have a tracker of her or something, I believe. Or at least a ship, or some signal of the ship that took her and all that stuff. But yeah. As Obi-Wan arrives on the planet and all that stuff, asking directions, one from like some guy from like the signal, saying that no signal comes in and out of this planet. And then a woman trying to sell Obi-Wan spice, who I'm not sure if you know this, Lucky Chi, is apparently played by Ewan McGregor's own daughter. Apparently.
I noticed that. I was like,
Yeah. Eva Rose McGregor, Teffa Greg. I do find ironic how she has like my own father. I once had a father when this gives Obi-Wan a free spice thing. However, this other kid ends up noticing Ian McGregor and says that I can lead him leading like Obi-Wan to a Jedi. But before Obi-Wan does that, there is also, to Obi-Wan's shock, a homeless clone trooper asking for some spare change for a veteran and all that stuff. Possibly from the 501st, giving the clone's painting. And it's like, and Obi-Wan seems to have a bit of a shock moment there.
Yeah.
But there's more to that later. But anyway, the kid tells him that there's a Jedi about who's out to help people and all that stuff.
Is he out to help people though?
Right, anyway, by the way, the boy's name is Jayoku, I should probably mention. But a man named Hachi Estrid leaves a human woman with her son Corin, saying that they'll be safe with him. Does a few attempts of what appears to be Jedi tricks. At first, of closing down the window doors with the wave of the hand, but he's pulling up a communication with for the Force. But then, which makes you think at first seems like, okay, he could legitimately be a Jedi, but then, ends up doing something no Jedi would do, like, I'm going to use my Jedi mind trick. This is like, I am entering your mind. And during this whole, arco, Obi-Wan is listening as he's got, as the mother and son have been given a transport off to Corellia. As then, Haji takes credit off them as they try to thank him on their way. With Obi-Wan confronting, and then, of course, the guy says, well done to, his partner who's on the communication. As he takes a break, with Obi-Wan then finally confronting the man, asking for the whereabouts of a girl. That's missing, who he's pretending to be his daughter, I should probably mention. However, once the con man tries to, I should probably mention that the con man who is being portrayed by, let me just find the Wikipedia page by Kanami Namajin. Sorry, what?
No, he's portrayed by me.
No, no, that would be interesting. I will admit. For those who might know, if the name might sound familiar, or at least if he sounds or looks familiar, he was one of the Eternals.
He's in Eternals. He does a lot of comedy films.
Yeah,
that's where I recognize him. I was like,
yes.
Oh, that is him. Uh-oh.
Yes, he started, as the Eternal Kingo. The Bollywood, the one who pretended to be a Bollywood celebrity of a long line of Bollywood actors.
Yep.
Who I found was probably the funniest character in the film. But ultimately, role was probably not all that major, given the fact he took no part in the final fight.
Yeah. Well, like I said, comedy's his. It's kind of where his strong suit is. What I've noticed.
Yeah. I know. I was at least expecting at least one action scene of him coming in the end and all that stuff, which it did not happen. But yeah,
it kind of did. I think it's you kind of got it, but you didn't really get it at the same
time. But yeah, he ends up appearing and all that stuff. Anyway, Obi-Wan, no longer playing along with the charade, points a blaster at him, knowing that he's not a Jedi and all that stuff, asking for the information, though, threatening him, even though he's a rat, he knows that rats know, all the secrets of, planets and all that stuff, or where they could find, or at least knows what all the dodgy stuff is happening and all that stuff, which he then gives him the information to, a drug-dealing place in which Obi-Wan infiltrates at first. Ends up fighting a few of the guards there before finding what appears to be the location of Leia, only to be a fake decoy, dummy droid thing, only to be confronted by the three kidnappers, as they end up mocking him about how the third Inquisitor was right, the third sister was right, that Obi-Wan was predictable with the bait thing. And here's a sort of interesting line about how, it looks like Jedi's bleeds, but I guess that's more onto the fact later a bit. But But Obi-Wan has managed to escape by dropping the glass a bit of spice that he got from the ritzy woman he met earlier, putting on his mask on, as the other mercenaries as all the kidnappers end up being ritzy knocked out, I guess, maybe not knocked out. Let's see how to phrase it. Let's see, indisposed, I guess.
Something like that.
Let's see, I guess. Let's see, inactive, I guess, or something. Due to inhaling the effects of that spice, with Obi-Wan eventually then finding Leia, though she first tries to escape from him, until he mentions that the father sent her, though Leia's wondering, where's the army and all that stuff, because earlier she mentioned to the kidnappers that her dad would send an army to find her. Oh, I should also mention that her toy droid was also busted by the main kidnapper. As the two now attempt to flee and all that stuff, while the third Inquisitor tries to head to where they are, only to find that Kenobi's escape. Obi-Wan and Leia, end up try and lay cover with Leia once seeing Obi-Wan Kenobi's lightsaber, which was shown briefly that he was carrying at the end of the last episode. Realizes that Obi-Wan is possibly a Jedi, though isn't 100% convinced because he refuses to use the Force or abilities on her, asking him to make her float. Oh yeah, I should probably mention that Leia is being portrayed by someone called Vivian Lila Blair. Okay, let's see.
She's adorable. I'm gonna just say that right now.
And yeah, let's see. Yes, she is adorable, and more about that later. But yeah, it's just like it's not her first role, but it's her first major role, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.
In anything. No, I think she's also been in a show called. Oh, actually, she has been in the other most well-known thing is the Netflix movie We Can Be Heroes, which I think is the sort of sequel to like the standalone follow-up to the adventures of Shark Boy and Lava Girl. From the same guy who did the Spy Kids movies, I recall.
I still haven't seen that movie. Not the Spy Kids movie, the one you're just talking about right now.
Let's see. I don't know. It's not really a movie I think I remember hearing people talk much about. To be honest, but it seems when the sequel thing came up, people got excited.
I do remember that.
But yeah. At least the people that were on Twitter, on other social media platforms. But yeah.
Always Twitter.
But we get some like funny sassy interactions between Leia and Obi-Wan, particularly when Leia's wanting to buy certain outfit, clothing and all that stuff, though. Obi-Wan gets the choice of the green cloak, but she gets the gloves.
That's funny.
Anyway, as the third sister attempts to try and pursue her thing from like Kenobi, she is confronted by the Grand Inquisitor, the fifth brother, and a new Inquisitor called the fourth sister, portrayed by Rhea Callista, who was apparently starred in the movies Home Alone 3 as Alice Robertson. Let's see. Also went in a film called Deep Impact, Woman in Trouble, and the Occurtist Institute. And a recurring role as Dr. Let's see, Michael Rose in the Showtime crime drama Dexter. Okay. But I believe she's one of the alien. She's the same alien species as Adila. You see the Jedi. Okay, the Jedi Master lives with Obi-Wan that was killed by Savage Opress. Let's see.
Oh, okay.
I think that's what she's portraying as.
Yeah.
Granted, she doesn't really get in mind. She only gets really she only says one or two words in this episode and all that stuff. But the Inquisitor tells the third sister to stand down as her obsession with Kenobi has gone too far and all that stuff. The fifth brother saying that she's just trying and win favor with Vader, insulting her about how they found her from the scrap, how she is the lesser of the, as she's the less of the lot, as the Grand Inquisitor and the other ones with the stormtroopers they have will end up finding Kenobi themselves, as they believe that they are more capable, telling Ritzy, the fifth brother, not to underestimate Kenobi, as he is unlike the other Jedi that they've been searching, that they've been hunting down for the last 10 years. Not the same scraps, if you will. Let's see, as Obi-Wan Kenobi is one of the big top dogs, if you will. But yeah, but the third sister is not having it, ends up contacting her free kidnapper, henchman, to put a bounty out for Kenobi with all the bounty hunters to try and find him, knowing that they won't actually succeed in capturing him, but they know that they will draw him out at least. With Obi-Wan, Kenobi end up getting to a bit of a scuffle with one of them, and then sees like the bounty thing placed on him on the watch thing, hollow poster thing. Leia sees this and realizes that she's here because of Kenobi. Ends up running, not trusting him. Ends up running with Kenobi in pursuit, having a bit of a scuffle with a bunch of bounty hunters to eventually. I should probably mention Hajjad also at first getting informed by his kid partner thing that they had this huge bounty earlier. Tries to go out to see it, but ends up seeing Obi-Wan saving Leia with the Force and all that stuff. And this is where Leia ends up after she tries to jump but falls and all that stuff. And Obi-Wan saves her with the use of the Force and Leia floating. Fully believes that Obi-Wan's a Jedi. Now comes to trust him again as they try to escape to the port, but they end up seeing a bunch of Inquisitors there. And just as one of the droid bounty hunters that was pursuing Obi-Wan earlier is about to try and shoot him again, Hajjad shoots the thing and says to Obi-Wan that he's seen the error of his ways, or at least wants to help him, given probably he's seen his character and wants to do the right thing for once. Obi-Wan is not fully trusting him. However, doesn't really have a choice, takes his chip thing that allows an automatic transport thing off the planet, as he tries to promise to buy him some time, and confronts the third sister, who realizes that Hajjad's not a Jedi, uses the Force to push him away, and then uses the Force to go inside his mind to interrogate him. The same technique Kylo Ren did in the Force Awakens to Rey and all that stuff, though this time it succeeds. She ends up, Obi-Wan ends up getting to the hangar, and during this, we get a little bonding moment with, Leia and Obi-Wan, with Leia saying that she wants to trust him and all that stuff, and doing this thing, she ends up reminding Obi-Wan of Padme and all that stuff, though he doesn't say her name out loud, but the way he was talking, you can tell that he's thinking of Padme. And just then, the third sister arrives, though Obi-Wan tells Leia to get into the shuttle, as Hugh Cohen causes a diversion and all that stuff. And during this thing, the third sister reveals that she's not going to kill Obi-Wan, but bring him alive so he can meet Lord Vader. As it shocks Obi-Wan, as the third sister says, you didn't know, as Anakin Skywalker is alive. Was he shocking Obi-Wan with this revelation, as he thought Anakin Skywalker was dead for this last decade. But before the Inquisitor can do any more aggressive attacks and all that stuff, the Grand Inquisitor arrives, telling her to stand down, as he will continue to search as he will take over from here and find Kenobi. And just as he's about to do his actions that might have just found where Obi-Wan's location is, the third sister stabs him through the chest or below the stomach, I believe, saying that she's not going to let him take the glory. Obi-Wan, seeing his chance to escape, goes onto the shuttle as it takes off, with the third sister saying, "You cannot escape us, Obi-Wan! You cannot run!" With Leia checking that, Obi-Wan first seeing that Leia's okay before sitting down, shocking over the revelation that Anakin's alive, with I think even Leia being a bit concerned. As Obi-Wan says Anakin's name, the scene cuts to Darth Vader in his Bacta tank, opening his eyes, as we get more of a clear shot of him as we come out. We hear the iconic breathing of Darth Vader, ending the episode. Man, what 2 episodes they are, Lucky Chi.
I got words I want to say that I'm sure Blue understands where I'm going to go with this.
Sure, go ahead.
But I'll say this. Episode 1, I really like. I think it was really cool to kind of get back into the swing of things of what was going on with Obi Wan and getting seeing work he's been since Revenge of the Sith. It's funny because I know we brought up the sequel trilogy earlier, but you could parallel it to how Luke was in there, though the argument here can be made that, well, you already had the original trilogy and the prequel trilogy, and all you're doing is kind of just filling in the blanks here. And in my opinion, personally, the way they handled Obi-Wan, showcasing how he's been 10 years after Revenge of the Sith in that first episode, I think was solid.
Yeah, I have to admit, I feel like that kind of story arc works probably better for Obi Wan Kenobi than it did with Luke Skywalker in The Last Jedi. Because it was with Obi Wan, because granted they rehashed the same story in a sense for the sequel trilogy with Luke, but here it feels like there's much more groundwork for that to happen, and
well, and it's already established that way too, that he's been away for years. So
but this is a nice transition to see probably how Obi Wan is at the end of Revenge of the Sith, where everything has been lost everything to where he is in A New Hope, where he seems a little bit more optimistic and all that stuff when he meets with Luke. So we're getting the bits and all that stuff. But it's interesting how this show's tying in, and it's interesting as this is the here they're revealing that how Obi-Wan, the second episode particularly reveals how Obi-Wan learns how Anakin is still alive, because it's clear from because for 10 years he thought he was dead, and clearly that's probably what he told Owen Lars when they talked and all that stuff. But
I mean, let's be fair. The last time you saw Anakin was burning to a crisp. So, I mean, imagine being in Obi-Wan's shoes. The last sight you see of your friend, they're burning. You're not gonna think, "Oh, he's gonna come back." Once you're burned, you're just gone.
And I have to say, so far, I'm liking this more better than the Legends version of how he found out. Because in the Legends version, from what I recall on Wikipedia, Obi-Wan finds out pretty quickly after the events of Revenge of the Sith, at least maybe 1 year or something, because, there was
I know what you're referring to. Is it the Rise of the Dark Lord? I forget. It's
the Rise of the that Darth Vader novel after Revenge of the Sith that became sort of its own loose-in trilogy thing with the Labyrinth of Evil, Revenge of the Sith, and then that book after where Darth Vader helps the invasion of Kashyyyk from the Empire and all that stuff.
Yeah, it was one of the more well popular books in the Star Wars union, and one I know a lot of people consider canon, even with the whole Legends thing being disregarded.
Yeah, though now let's see that Legends novel will probably no longer be canon. So to be fair, and neither that Obi-Wan Kenobi novel, which I regret not buying. I will admit, there's now this new Obi-Wan Kenobi novel with Anakin Skywalker called Brotherhood. That's starting quite at the beginning of the Clone Wars, by the way. That's out. I'm probably going to try and buy that.
I was going to say, I've been seeing that book around in my local bookshop, and I've been pretty keen on checking them out.
Yeah, I'm going to try and buy it when I can. But I'm on a on a sort of weekly budget, so I have to save up my money carefully.
You're not the only one.
If not, I can use my if it's bought quickly in the bookshop where it is, I can just quickly order it on Amazon, as I got quite a few birthday money because my birthday was just a few days ago. But I get all the Star Wars stuff around my birthday. Yay me! but after all, May is the month for Star Wars. May the 4th, Revenge of the 5th, and also George Lucas's birthday. Also, all the original 6 films of Star Wars coming out this time. Oh, and Solo, though that ended up being a bit of a mistake since it was a bit too soon after the backlash of The Last Jedi.
We were going up against Endgame too, so there was a lot of
Infinity War and Deadpool 2.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, let's see, not the best time to release that movie.
But clearly.
Yeah. Probably should have done it in December like they did the other films. Oh well. But anyway. But yeah, so let's see. So where was I? But yeah. Oh yeah, so yeah, I was talking about the Kenobi novel a bit and all that stuff, but yeah. Oh yeah. So Obi-Wan thinks like Anakin was dead, and clearly that he told, let's see, and they told Owen, in which, judging from like episode 4, he still seems to think that he's dead. So it's possible that Obi-Wan never told Owen the truth of what happened to Anakin Skywalker. Though, granted,
I do want to say I love that conversation they had too.
Yeah, that conversation was pretty good. Let's see, we saw a bit of it in the trailer, though probably the most famous line is like, which when he was like, "Oh, that's got a blow," with like you train his father. But it's interesting the fact that he's angry over the toy that Obi-Wan bought him the toy that Luke had in episode 4. So even though no one probably asked for it, we got the origin of that toy. And Obi-Wan bought it from a Jawa, which I did like the conversation he had. Like, hey, I got a family to feed, and then he stole his own Obi-Wan's own parts.
If I remember correctly, the Jawa's name was Tico, right?
Yeah.
Tico's name. Also,
I'm not sure if the Jawas appeared in anything else, but either way, it's the first time we've actually got to understand a Jawa.
I know. I saw Tico, and I was like, you know what? I like this one. It's amusing.
But yeah. But yeah, the Jawa and all that stuff. But yeah. So yeah, Tico. Let's see, but I like how Tico also tries to rob Kenobi of his own parts and then try and resell them. But Obi-Wan's like, at least clean them first.
I mean, he has a point.
Yeah. So yeah. But yeah, I do find the conversation with like Owen Lars and all that stuff not happy of like absolutely refute, as we know from his character, absolutely refusing to have Luke train and all that stuff. I think he really nails the performance, and like I said, maybe Star Wars fans are happy that they got the prequel actor back from it. I believe Joel Edgerton and all that stuff. Granted, interesting to note that. We're probably going to see them again because, like,
I think we will.
Piers, who plays as Beru White's son Lars, let's see, Aunt Beru and all that stuff, Luke's aunt. Let's see, she's apparently going to appear in the film and all that stuff.
I mean, Obi-Wan, if I remember correctly, was scheduled for 6 episodes, right?
Yeah. So let's see. So we're going to eventually. So I say that this is probably not going to be the only appearance we're going to see of Owen Lars. My guess is that she's going to be in episode 6 with him at the end, because depending on because I don't think we're going to cut back to Tatooine anytime just yet. No, I did like finally seeing like a young Luke Skywalker,
even if it was super brief.
Yeah, even though it's just more of a non-speaking cameo. Grant Feely, that's who portrays him and all that stuff. But yeah. So yeah, now granted, we'll probably see the young Luke again in episode 6, or part 6, if you will.
To be more accurate, yeah, part 6.
Yeah. So yeah, it's always nice to see Luke Skywalker appear. Now, granted, let's see, his role, of course, in this is clearly minor, as probably should be, as he's just a normal farm boy, though. If they ever want to do a little mini adventure of young Luke Skywalker adventuring Tatooine, I could see them possibly doing it for maybe. Well, that might be more of a little mini animated series.
I was going to say, like, maybe not like a full-on series, but maybe like little mini shorts.
Yeah, probably more of like, no, granted, that'd probably be more of animated.
Yeah, maybe similar to Forces of Destiny.
But yeah. Anyway, so yeah, quite, and I do like how he was able to see how calm he was when the third sister was threatening his life and all that stuff.
Yeah,
that was pretty cool.
it was.
Now, granted, I do like how even though he doesn't like Obi Wan Kenobi, he didn't really rat him out and all that stuff. Though, granted, he was doing it for his own family, as I'm pretty certain. Let's see, because if like Obi-Wan's discovered, there might be more questions about why he was on Tatooine and all that stuff, which could lead the Inquisitors to Luke and all that stuff. And if they discover his identity, well, I think Darth Vader himself would probably come there to reclaim him, or at least.
I mean, if we're gonna go by the actual canon, like he does find that out.
But that's in like the Darth Vader comics after New Hope. But I should probably mention that the one thing about that Darth Vader novel we're talking about is that when Obi-Wan finds out that Darth Vader's alive, I forgot to mention this earlier. He finds the news of the Hollow news from like the invasion of Kashyyyk and sees Vader and realizes that he's alive. Starts to worry. But then the Force ghost of Qui-Gon appears to him, telling him that Obi-Wan should not have to worry about Luke's safety as long as he's on Tatooine, as Vader will never go back to that planet, as the memory of the loss of his mother there is too painful for him and all that stuff. And I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of this we get that scene again for the end of like Kenobi and all that stuff, because there's one thing that should be noticed that from like a thing, because like one thing I really like is how they did like the previously long, and like you got that 4 minutes of like all the events of like the prequel trilogy that were major for this show, which I think was really well done.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, and then again when like the PTSD moment that we have with Obi-Wan has been asking for Qui-Gon's help, both then and when he was trying to find Leia on the planet before running into that clone trooper. I think this is clear to me that, despite the rumors that Liam Neeson said that, I haven't been contacted for like the show, he's clearly going to appear in some form in it.
I mean, okay, let's be fair. How long has Ewan Mcgregor been dodging the whole thing about him coming back? He was doing that for years. And then, what was the first thing he said when he was brought on stage? He's like, "Can I finally say something now?" So I was like, "But no, that's the thing. As soon as he said that, I was like, he's known." I was like, "Yep." I was like, I have my suspicions, but
yeah. And you could also argue the same case with Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield, even though everyone knew they were coming back for No Way Home.
It's like people thought I was crazy when I said, "Look, if we're dealing with like multiverses and stuff," well, I'll say this: the second Doc Ock came, and I was like,
"Okay, Tobey Maguire's coming back."
No. My other big hint was Electro. The fact that they brought back Jamie Foxx, I was like that. I'm like, okay, maybe it's coincidental, but it should be pointed out as the same actor. So maybe Andrew Garfield can come back in. I was right.
Yeah. But yeah.
Minor moment to gloat, but just so you all know, I was right.
But given how they've been teasing it and all that stuff, it's like, he's coming back, he's coming back. Whether or not, and possibly finally as a full-on Force Ghost, because he was originally supposed to be a Force Ghost in Revenge of the Sith. But I think Liam Neeson had some sort of bike crash or some other role that he was doing at the time, I think, from what I recall.
Yeah.
So it ended up being cut and all that stuff. There is a deleted scene, I think, of Yoda possibly hearing Liam Neeson's voice, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. And then in the Clone Wars Season 6 finale story arc with Yoda, the Yoda arc, Liam Neeson replies his voice saying that he never completed the training, and as a way to explain why we didn't see the Force Ghost. But I think now we're probably going to
see it,
see it. But probably more as, Obi-Wan starts to reawaken his abilities and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
As he's trying to get some help from his master. But yeah, so That is great. So it's like the Qui-Gon stuff there is great. Anyway, so should we get to the Inquisitors?
Sure.
Anyway, this is the first live-action debut of the Inquisitors we've seen since, like, first appeared in Rebels to then appearing in, like, the comics and then Jedi Fallen Order. But here we have, let's see, the live-action, and we have 4 Inquisitors so far. Though, granted, 2 are new ones and 2 are old ones that we know. The 2 old ones we know, of course, are the Grand Inquisitor and the 5th Brother. Which... probably due to the fact that they're being portrayed by live actors, they're very different from their let's see, I guess animated Rebels and comics counterpart designs, if you will.
Yeah.
But I think they do a good job of portraying them at least. I mean, granted, they look a lot more humanoid, I guess, than they would like in the animated things, as they looked a bit more. I guess you could say
Yeah, I'll say this. I feel like their design in Rebels made them stand out a lot more than I feel like they didn't.
No, granted, I do feel like the Rebels design does fit more with like the species that Grand Inquisitor is Apogeny, I think. I'm trying to recall what the Grand Inquisitor is. It's a Puaran, the alien species from Utapau, which they're supposed to have long heads and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, granted, let's see. Though, granted, it's possible. I'm wondering if the Grand Inquisitor's Wikipedia profile pic will now change to the live action version, because they always do that when it comes to like Star Wars characters. But yeah. So the Inquisitors here, and it's let's see. But yeah, I think they portray their role quite good. Now, granted, there's going to be probably one controversial scene with the Grand Inquisitor apparently being stabbed in the stomach, a lookalike appearing that he's dead.
Obviously, he's not.
Well, clearly he's not, but
I mean, okay, considering that he's in Rebels, yeah, no, he's.
I mean, we do know that the Star Wars TV shows have. Well, granted, people say notice with like stuff with Dave Filoni that be it animated shows or live action, it does cause some continuity issues with some things that he's done. Have you watched the first episode of The Bad Batch?
No, I haven't.
Well, let's just say there's a let's just say they contradict something that happens in the Kanan Jarvis comics and all that stuff. It's like if some certain events play out differently. But
to be fair, a lot of people called us out too when they said everything was going to be connected in the universe. So they say that now, but eventually, one or two things are going to feel kind of contradictory.
Now, if you're a fan of those Ken and Jarvis comics, Akichi, you probably might be a little annoyed, though you might just forgive the Bad Batch for doing it. But anyway, the other one is perhaps more recent in the Book of Boba Fett, in which Luke presents Yoda's lightsaber to young Grogu and all that stuff, which in the second series, the second of the 3 Darth Vader comics, the second one which takes place just after Revenge of the Sith. Let's see. We know that Mass Amada ended up destroying, burning the lightsaber of all the other ones collected from the Jedi and all that stuff. And now Luke has it. So this is probably going to be like... But if they do kill off the Grand Inquisitor, this will be a major continuity issue, because we know he's alive in Rebels. And
he doesn't go out until the end of the first season. That's
No, granted, some people will probably be confused. Like, why is this character being kept alive, even though this is like probably going to be the only major thing, though. This is probably going to be Star Wars fans that have probably not watched Rebels, because some Star Wars fans do not watch the animated series.
Yeah, unfortunately, that also means they don't watch Rebels or Clone Wars, especially Clone Wars.
No, granted, it's very possible that more people are going to be watching Clone Wars with the more introduction of Clone Wars characters, such as Ahsoka Tano and Bo-Katan, into live action. Granted, let's see. So it's also possible that maybe some people will actually start to look more into Rebels, though granted that might be the case, as the Ahsoka live-action series is actually a direct sequel to Rebels. And not to mention Grand Admiral Thrawn being mentioned in Mandalorian Season 2, so some people will try to probably at least watch Rebels, or at least check out the more important episodes and try and skip the filler-ish ones. Let's see, to try and understand what's going on and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, because unlike, let's see, what you could do with Kenobi, you can't do like the 5-minute montage of like, let's see, previously on Star Wars. And let's see, because like there was a live action, the stuff in Rebels is animated. But yeah. So yeah, but if not, otherwise, there's going to need to be some explanation of like why, like, okay, the Inquisitor died here, but then you still have him here. Granted, we do know that Darth Vader resurrected or at least brought the spirit of the Inquisitor back to guard a Jedi temple in the second series of Star Wars comics, in which Luke ends up battling him for a bit, as this was apparently one of those fates worse than death that he mentioned in his final moments to Kanan Jarrus. But yeah, but he plays the role great and all that stuff as the commanding presence, and clearly how he gets annoyed like with the third sister, which it's clearly going to be the sort of main main warm-up antagonist before Darth Vader arrives, from what we can tell. Revava, I believe her name is. And interesting, the thing about the third, let's see, now granted, from what I can tell, let's see, the third sister appears to be, let's see, from what I can tell from the characterization, probably be the most controversial, or at least mixed response from what I can tell, because, well, from what I've seen from some people who have reviewed the show, while they get the portrayal and that stuff, they see like some people might not like her attitude and all that stuff, from what I can tell. But I think she works as like the impatient Inquisitor, trying to use more reckless aggression and all that stuff, and clearly has ambitions to climb through the ranks of the Inquisitor thing and gain the glory of capturing Kenobi, and clearly wants to gain the favor of Anakin Skywalker / Darth Vader. And it's very interesting that she actually knows the identity of Darth Vader, because as far as we know, none of the Inquisitors have even given a hint that they've known who Darth Vader is and all that stuff.
Yeah, that would be curious, I'll say. Sure.
Granted, for all we know, they all might actually know the actual identity of Darth Vader, but it's interesting because, like, the identity of Darth Vader as Anakin Skywalker, given the fact that it's supposed to be one of the biggest due to the biggest plot twist of all time, let's see, in movie history, or the most iconic plot twist of all time. Let's see, in the Star Wars galaxy, very few people know who he is. Heck, I think even Tarkin doesn't quite fully know who he is, but has guesses, as the Emperor never confirms his identity to people. So let's see. So how she knows is going to be interesting. Though I think for many people, they've already guessed that she is actually one of those younglings that we saw at the beginning of Order 66 and all that stuff.
That would make sense.
Let's see, which I have to admit, I've always loved seeing more clips of Order 66. It's always a treat to see it on the thing.
You're not the only one.
So what?
I said you're not the only one.
So yeah, but I really like how they did this one. You just like, for most Jedi at the temple, yeah, it would clearly be like a normal night and all that stuff. A master just training like some younglings and all that stuff. Let's see, as probably doing a lesson, as probably Yoda's too busy with the Battle of Kashyyyk and all that stuff, only to suddenly have clones coming in and shooting her. Let's see, Luckily, she's not the Jedi Master, who I believe I've forgotten the name of this Jedi again, but I know I mentioned the name earlier. Let's see. What's her name again? Hold on. Let me just get back to part one and all that stuff on the Wikipedia page, just so I can bring up the name. Wikipedia, always good for that sort of, let's see, details. Jedi Master, Jedi Master, hold on, first appearance. Jedi Master, come on, I know I've got it somewhere. Come on. Yeah, I'm trying to find it. Oh, yeah. Let's see, Minas Felitti, I believe. Yeah, yes. Actually, I have to admit, I found it pretty impressive how she was able to take on quite a few clones and to take quite a few of them out. And I do like how, which I hope this scene from Order 66 implies that, given how the choreography of how the light Jedi have been swinging about, that we're going to see quite a bit, some very good lightsaber action scenes in this, because depending on who you ask, there has not been some great lightsaber action since The Force Awakens. Though some might also like the lightsaber action in, or at least, to be fair, people like there's actually like stuff in like The Mandalorian season 2 with like Ahsoka and Luke Skywalker. But many people are hoping, like with the lightsaber action from this bit here, that when we finally get that long-awaited Obi-Wan versus Darth Vader duel in this series, lightsaber action is going to be good. But from what we've seen from all those background Jedi, they did quite well with the choreography and all that stuff. But yeah, I have to admit, one thing it is interesting to see is that all these clone troopers, all the clone trooper armor and all that stuff is done in live action. Because I'm not sure if you probably know this, Lucky Chi, but there wasn't a single live action clone trooper glitzy costume in the entire prequel trilogy, and it was all just CGI.
I remember.
Let's see. For some people, that was a bit of a mixed and controversial thing and all that stuff. But yeah, probably this is a good time to get into the effects a bit. It's like the effects for the Kenobi have been pretty good for one of the Disney Plus's TV shows and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because now, granted, The Mandalorian has been pretty good, but Book of Boba Fett was a bit more of a mixed response and all that stuff. But I have to admit, let's see, and I know that one thing that managed to do well at this is like with the whole setting of Tatooine. Because after the Book of Boba Fett, some people like sick of Tatooine, but Kenobi managed to at least get people to say like, "Ah, yeah, I'm enjoying Tatooine again."
See, this is why I guess I'm glad I didn't watch Book of Boba Fett, because I'm like, oh, I was on Tatooine. Like, I wasn't. See, maybe I dodged a bullet by not doing that, because I remember if it were me, I'd be like, maybe my response might be similar to other people, but hey.
But I think you probably will need to watch Book of Boba Fett at some point, especially if you want to get into Mandalorian Season 3. Not to mention probably some other things it's setting up, but I'm not going to spoil it for you.
Okay.
But yeah, you really want to watch episodes 5 and 6 of the Book of Boba Fett. I'd also recommend episode 2. But anyway, where was I? But anyway, the Clone Troopers. But anyway, one thing that I really liked is the fact that we got that cameo of Tamora Morrison and all that stuff.
Yeah.
As like this homeless clone trooper. And I think he's from the 501st, just given from the armor and all that stuff. But it's interesting with the beard thing and all that stuff, and it's best some chance. And I do like how Obi-Wan's reaction to seeing the clone. He's like shocked and a bit worried at first, because it's like, let's see, because of his last experience with clones, with like his own clones turning on him and then fighting the ones in the Jedi Temple. So clearly he probably has some mistrust for clones now, but Let's see, and probably doesn't know about the whole computer chip thing that they have in their brains. But with Tamara Morrison appearing in this, let's see, this has given me wonder that perhaps we'll also see the return of Commander Cody, perhaps, if he's still in the service of the Empire. Which would be a pretty interesting thing to happen, actually. It's like Obi-Wan reuniting with his former right-hand man. Well, granted, it'll probably be a very brief scene, but as we know, since Tamara Morrison played the clone, even if it's as a cameo, we know it could possibly happen. Well, granted, let's see. They'll have to be trying tied in organically to make sure it doesn't thing. But anyway, but I think we should probably go back to the main reason why I brought up Order 66. One of the interesting things about Order 66 is that amongst the younglings, there's a dark-skinned girl among them, and many are predicting that the third sister is that youngling. As the Inquisitor says how she's from the bottom of them, and let's see, how the bottom of them and how they found her in the scraps as she willingly came to them and all that stuff. So it's possible, and I'm theorizing this, is that group of younglings we're going to see again in a flashback with Anakin Skywalker's Darth Vader cutting his lightsaber and slaughtering them, possibly doing the thing that Revenge of the Sith didn't do and all that stuff. But
wait, okay. As messed up as it sounds, I am kind of looking forward to seeing this.
See, now granted, I'm not sure if Disney will go that far. Let's see, that far. They still allow them to go that far because it's
if Rogue One was able to get away with some stuff, I'm pretty sure we can get some stuff here.
Yeah, but after all, because it might just be more implied. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if she is the one. If she survived that and witnessed Anakin slaughtering and deduced that, okay, he's clearly. Let's see, this is clearly Darth Vader and all that stuff, and this is how she knows that Anakin Skywalker's alive. All that stuff. Other than that, let's see. So yeah, I do like how, but either way, she clearly wants to prove herself, and clearly because she's regarded as the bottom of the litter, even though she's regarded as the third sister. Though granted, I will admit I don't know how the Inquisitor ranks go up or how the numbering system works. We do know the Grand Inquisitor is like the leader, and the rest are numbered as either. Let's see, a number as brother or sister, though I'm not sure if there's for every first, second or third, fourth or fifth brother, there's also a sister or brother of that same rank. Or if they or if the numbers only go there can only be one second, one third, or one thing, etc. But either way, it's clear that the numbering thing does not really determine the rank, or even if if possible, the numbering even determines when the Inquisitor has joined the ranks or something. I know it hasn't been clear yet, but yeah. Because either way, the fifth brother seems to outrank the third sister, if you will. Even if he joined sometime after her, or maybe even. But I don't know. It's not remained clear on how the whole thing has worked so far.
Yeah.
Never really gone into detail on it just quite yet. With the whole numbering thing. Heck, we have even no idea how many Inquisitors there are. But yeah, but I do like how the fifth one is this calm, is clearly the more experienced, let's see, second in command of the Inquisitor shown. As he repents the third sister for her reckless actions, and is able to easily deduce that she's searching for Kenobi and all that stuff, and deduces that she's trying to gain credit. Now, granted, the only other Inquisitor that we know of that, let's see, now granted, there's not much to really say about this one, but the fourth sister, whose only major role so far is informing the Grand Inquisitor that the third sister has put a bounty on Obi Wan Kenobi to all the bounty hunters there.
No.
So far she has yet to have a major role. So far she's more of just a minor, but I think she's clearly going to have more of a major role in the upcoming episodes, at least.
Oh, definitely.
And if I had to guess, I predict that she's going to be the warm-up fight for Obi Wan Kenobi before fighting the third sister and then Darth Vader. Because let's see, as far as we can tell, she's not appeared in any of the in anything like Rebels in the comics afterwards.
Yeah.
And she hasn't appeared in anything for before, so my guess is this is going to be one of those one-time Inquisitor things that's going to show up and then get killed, because there have been a few cases of that.
There have. I mean, that's apparent.
Yeah. Now, granted, that was mostly in the case of the Darth Vader comics, really.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see, as granted, the second sister, while major appearance was in Jedi Fallen Order, and that was her only major one, she did have a cameo in the Darth Vader comics as a teaser for an upcoming event, but she was clear for that story.
Right.
Now, granted, let's see, the Night Sister, let's see, but interesting thing. But yeah, but the other three Inquisitors I'm thinking of is the 10th brother, who was a Marillion Jedi that was in the Mace Windu comics that Marvel did a while back, a sort of mini thing, who became deluded with the Jedi and attacked Mace Windu, but then got arrested from the council and all that stuff and was spared, but ended up falling to the dark side and becoming the 10th brother, but ended up being killed in the battle in the Empire's invasion of Mon Cala, which is to explain how all those Mon Calamari ships were about, if you will. And then, of course, like this Twi'lek and this unidentified alien female one that was killed who were killed by Darth Vader after being informed that, the female Inquisitor, first let the mother and Ian Koff's child away, even though that was just her way of messing with her, as making sure that she never trusts another woman again. And then, and also because those two seem to be having feelings for each other, which Vader found would be a distraction, and declared them traitors and to kill them both. So I'm pretty certain, that would be probably the fourth sister's role. But anyway, I think now before we get to one of the main bits that I want to get into is the casting and the portrayal of the young Leia Organa.
Well, I already kind of gave my thoughts very quickly, but she's adorable and she's funny. She's super.
Yes, this is clearly the perfect cast. Now, one thing you always got to worry about these child actors in Star Wars is that if the fan base doesn't feel like they do a good job, they don't always get the best treatment. As we know, what sadly happened to Jake Lloyd. You remember, right?
Remind me to slap him if I see him. Just go like, wait, hold on. I need to know where I agree. There.
Yeah, the fans who bullied and harassed Jake Lloyd, yes. Yeah, now
find your inner dark side. Go to those fans and slap them on the head.
Yes, the treatment of Jake Lloyd is probably one of the darkest things that have happened to the Star Wars fan base. Granted, they probably didn't help. They also got bullied in school for it, but that's not. Let's see, but yeah. But yes, given the fact that many felt like he wasn't the best choice to be cast as the young Anakin Skywalker, even though I thought he was pretty fine, though apparently from the behind the scenes, there was another one that everyone else thought was doing a better job, but George Lucas decided on Jake Lloyd, and they all just went with it and all that stuff, which led to the thing of like, okay, Lucas was surrounded by yes men, though who knows? Who knows? It was possibly that George Lucas just saw something in Jake Lloyd no one else did at the time, but that's how it was. But yeah, but clearly the Vivian Lila Blair, which I have to admit, it's very weird to hear a young kid have the same surname as a former prime minister in the United Kingdom. I'm going to be honest with you, Lucky Chi.
Always with the politics.
Well, hey. Okay, but hey, there's a bit of politics in here in Star Wars, though.
That's fair.
No, granted, but yeah. But no, granted, let's see. Tony Blair, but yeah. Now, granted, when people say the word Blair in the UK, that's probably with a bit more But depending on who you ask, that might be a more negative or positive. But anyway, but I think I think she does a pretty good job, and she clearly portrays the sass that we know from Leia Organa.
Especially New Hope Leia Organa, definitely.
Yeah, I definitely like how that she's portrayed and all that stuff. But I do find it interesting how she did not really want to be a senator and all that stuff. And I do think the line about how, let's see, I don't want to be a senator. It's just people in itchy clothes and talking some gibberish or something, which is probably how certain Star Wars fans feel whenever politics are brought into Star Wars. But heck.
Yeah, which I know politics isn't exactly my big shtick on anything typically, but I'm not gonna lie and say that I didn't think the politics in Star Wars weren't interesting because I actually kind of.
I particularly find them interesting during the prequel era, as you see a declining democracy being taken over by a dictator.
Yeah, the way the sequel trilogy tried to go about. Okay, even with the sequel trilogy.
I'd say this for the sequel trilogy politics, particularly the ones that are introduced in The Last Jedi. There are definitely some politics I agreed with it, though I'm not sure if they fit it in with the overall trilogy, really.
Yeah.
Particularly like the whole animal cruelty and the slave stuff, which, okay, on one hand, yeah, I can see that. Okay, the slave thing I can kind of see working in. But yeah, I will admit, I did find the idea of like the more wealthy beings of the galaxy funding both rebels and the resistance and the First Order, war profiteering, if you will. Though granted, that does feel like. Granted, it didn't really went anywhere due to the fact that J.J. Abrams kind of ignored stuff from that, but heck. Also, that character DJ only appearing in like the one film. And I don't really see. Then again, I figure he was going to at least appear in episode 9, though. If Disney ever decides to do some, TV shows post Rise of Skywalker, they could always bring DJ back. But who knows? But anyway. But yeah. But I do find it interesting how we get a little bit of the but yeah, one thing I do like about seeing going to Alderaan is that we actually get to see a bit of the world a bit. As we only got like a bit of a cameo at the end of Revenge of the Sith. Which we saw some beautiful skyscrapers. And the only other kind of visual thing you can see of Alderaan is in the Old Republic, which is now non-canon. And that's during a time of civil war in the galaxy. And this planet itself having a civil war. But here we get to see just how grand the cities of Alderaan are, what transports they have, what people are dressing in it, and all that stuff. It was quite nice to see, actually. Mm-hmm. And it definitely felt like some of the world building you would see in the prequel trilogy. And in many ways, it makes me think, Alderaan does make me think, like, this is what the Republic should be.
Give or take.
Yeah. After all, in many things in the legends, they often say that, well, Coruscant might be the brain or head of the Republic. Alderaan was always the heart of the Republic. But yeah. So nice to see that. But one thing I definitely like about how Leia's portrayed is the sass that she has, particularly when dealing with her cousin. It's interesting to know that the one thing this whole Kenobi series does is interesting to know that we learn from this that all this time she knows that she's adopted. She's not Organa by blood.
That was interesting, actually. I'm not gonna lie. I was like, huh? So she's always known.
That she's not blood related to Bail, but
then again, if you remember in Return of the Jedi, she does tell Luke that she does remember seeing a glimpse of what her mom was like. So
yeah, I see. So yeah, but this I think 100% confirms that she knows that let's see, she's adopted and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Because I think back in Return of the Jedi, let's see, and half the Revenge of the Sith, when they were born, Luke and Leia were born on the day born on the day Padme died and all that stuff. People were wondering, like, how did she knew who was her mother, Padme was her mother and all that stuff. And wondered if she was like, and thinking of like her adopted mother and all that stuff. But even though, let's see, you had some of the actors and cast, and George confirmed that, yes, she was thinking of her mother from like interviews and all that stuff. But here, let's see, it's 100%. Let's see, okay, she at least knows. So, which leads to a nice touching moment with like Bail Organa. But first, let's see, I suppose we should probably get into the argument where she gives sass to her cousin about his treatment of droids and lesser life forms and how he's afraid of his own father. But then he's like, "You're not a real Organa." But Bale says that you are. Let's see, you may not be the blood, but she's everywhere as well. But she is a true Organa in here and all that stuff. So yeah, I'm lucky. I'm just going to get a quick drink. So continue for a bit. Right, let's continue. But okay, never mind.
Oh. I was trying to figure out what it sounds like.
So yeah, so we get a nice touching moment with her and Bale. And it's interesting how, let's see, we see that Leia's just as probably as adventurous as both her father and her brother, Luke, that she does not know about at this point, of wanting to go on other planets and explore the worlds, as she's not yet gone anywhere but here. Well, granted. So she's got that adventurous Skywalker streak in her.
That was pretty nice to see.
Yeah, it was nice to see. Yep. And doesn't really want to become a senator and a politician, though. Granted, let's see, Bale. Let's see. It was interesting that we learned how Bale didn't want to be like that either, but eventually did and all that stuff, and tells her that due to the fact that even though she doesn't really want to do it, she'll probably be one of the best. As in many ways, it does remind me of a little line from Dumbledore about how he thinks that Harry would be a better minister than himself and others because they're not the ones craving ambition and power for it and all that stuff. That's because, well, as we've seen from many politicians that have craved the power, they never really, seem to have the best interest at heart and all that stuff. Though I do know from one book that there's an opinion that says that if one doesn't crave the ambition for like the top job, they're unlikely to get it. But yeah. So I think that's at least interesting. And there's a funny moment about saying, hey, once you become ruler of Onderon, which seems a bit morbid dark than you think about it due to the fact that, given how Alderaan will be destroyed in about 9 years. Let's see, Leia will never get to rule the planet, but yeah. Even teasing the cousin, and it's kind of interesting to see these other Organas besides like the one from Bale's own direct family, as it appears that these cousins are more greedy, spoiled, selfish type of Organas, if you will. The ones that don't care about the slavery and the suffering of poor worlds, and feel a bit more privileged and view droids as lesser life forms. So it's interesting to see that not every member from the Organa family are like Leia and Bale, who are more of the more decent politicians, if you will. Would you agree?
I would agree.
But yeah, but an interesting thing is that, granted, this is probably due to the events of like the Phantom Menace. Like, there's talked about how particular mother says that if you do as much tree climbing, if you were more focused as you were on tree climbing with your studies and all that stuff, you'd probably be a senator by now. And also how Bale talks about a few years she'll be going to one of the universities and then become a senator. So it seems like Though many people have always found it a bit of a stretch for the Phantom Menace with how young Padme was when she was elected queen and all that stuff as a head of state, given how she was 14. It seems like at least in the high class of the Star Wars universes and other planets and all that stuff, it seems like in families, political families, they start their political careers perhaps younger than they would in the real world, if you will.
Something like that.
I mean, who knows? Granted, it was probably a bit more. Now, granted, back in the medieval times, that would probably be a bit more expected because, well, humans had shorter lifespans back then.
That is true.
Though I think many more modern day audiences are more used to politicians being, at earliest their 30s to 40s, and usually in their 50s or 60s, really. I mean, granted, but never really as young as like, kids or teenagers, if you will. Granted, you could argue that this was probably more of a problem of what some would probably argue this is probably more due to a problem of George Lucas making Anakin and Padme 9 and 14 rather than making them teenagers, but that's the decision George Lucas wanted to do in order to create that sort of emotional moment of like the goodbye between Anakin and his mother. But either way, but in many ways, Leia does not sound like but Leia does sound more mature for her years, as we like to see with her and Obi Wan Kenobi in the second episode, and I really like that dynamic, don't you?
I do too.
Mm-hmm.
Like that was actually one of the biggest highlights for me when I was watching the episode. I was like, this if we just got a movie on these two, I wouldn't complain.
I wouldn't be surprised that after the Kenobi series, there'll be some fans that'll be asking for
legit. Can we get an Obi-Wan and Leia road trip? It doesn't have to be canon, but that would be amusing to watch.
Yeah, at the very least, there's some of you demanding a young Leia spin-off series.
I mean,
and getting this
I was gonna say there is that Leia book that came out.
Yeah, that was to tie into the Last Jedi, I recall. At least have some at least some of the lessons of failure there, I believe. I mean, I haven't read the book, but I have read some of the manga chapters because I should probably mention that this Leia novel gets adapted into a manga.
Oh, is it good?
From what I've seen so far, I think it was pretty good. Though it's like I believe the artist is the same one that did the Lost Stars manga adaptation.
Yeah.
The Lost Stars is a story about two lovers who end up being on opposing sides of the.
Oh, I remember. I actually read that.
Yeah, I'm just trying to explain to those who end up watching this review if they are wondering, okay, what we're talking about.
Yeah, they're probably looking at this runtime right now going "What's?"
Yeah, I will admit this is a lot longer than I admit it, and it's probably the combined total of both these episodes. But when you're talking, when you have two Star Wars fans talking about Kenobi,
actually prequel fans, by the way.
Yeah, and prequel fans, you cannot blame us. I will admit I probably went a bit longer in the summary than I intended. I apologize. But I'm close to wrapping this up. But yeah, I do like how the two are bantering.
Yeah.
All that stuff. It's like, prove you're a Jedi and all that stuff. And he's like, no, and all that stuff. And eventually she tries to run away from him when she can't really trust him. Though I think some people say, okay, we're doing that trope and all that stuff. But yeah. But of course, I do like how this moment allows Obi-Wan to slowly build up using the Force again. And afterwards, she completely trusts him and all that stuff. And even it's interesting how, for the first time ever, we get a comparison of Leia to her mother and all that stuff. With that bit from earlier and all that stuff. And I do like it, even though many, I think, Star Wars fans seem to think that, at least in the old Legends EU, think that Luke is more like Padme, really, and Leia's more like Vader, more like her father Anakin, even though that has always been a bit of an issue, bit of a gritty issue for her when she finds out, which will be quite interesting if we get more Star Wars media post, let's see, Return of the Jedi, when she comes to terms of like Anakin slash Darth Vader being her father. By the way, I do like how one of the aliens that seems to kidnapped her is one of those Phaline ones. Though I have to admit, I will admit, I should probably mention that the Inquisitor did kill one of those kidnappers at least, which was like, let's see, we don't see the death, but the implied screaming is, so there's that. But yeah. One thing I probably also want to mention about Obi-Wan's probably should get to this now is like Obi-Wan's character, which we did mention a little bit earlier, but he doesn't really want to get involved. Let's see, but his only priority is Luke. Even when Leia gets kidnapped, it's like, oh my god, he's not even willing to risk go out in hiding to save even her at first, until Bail Organa comes and convinces him. But one of the things we see how deluded he is when he runs into perhaps the first Jedi he's probably seen since Master Yoda in 10 years. He refuses to help him and all that stuff and just tells him to hide. In many ways, one thing I like, in many ways, that Jedi would probably be like, the Jedi would probably be like me if I probably met Obi-Wan's like, oh my god, it's so great to see you, Obi-Wan. We must help save the galaxy. It's like, no, it's like, I'd be so disappointed. Now, at first, I thought that Jedi was going to be like Obi-Wan's companion for whatever mission he's going to be doing in Kenobi, but then it's like, oh no, he ends up being killed. Were you surprised but anyway, how do you think he ended up being killed? Because it's left ambiguous who killed him. You think it was the Inquisitors or some citizens that initially helped, but then got,
I'm gonna say either the Inquisitors did it or some form of suicide. It's like this.
Okay, suicide. Okay, that's interesting. Now, my guess is that some of the townsfolk identified who he was and turned on him and had him hanged for their own safety.
Yeah,
but yeah. But anyway, I do like how we've got the trauma of Obi-Wan. Feeling like he failed Anakin, and he left him for dead and all that stuff.
Yeah,
doesn't want to get involved, but after some encouraging words from Bail. I also like the cameos from 3PO, and apparently R2-D2 was there, but I didn't really see R2-D2. And even but after saying, Bail convincing him, like, you failed the father, but go rescue Leia and all that stuff, because I have to save her and all that stuff. And I still like it, and I do like how bit darker Obi-Wan is, a little bit, still in a bit of a dark phase that Obi-Wan is. No, perhaps not. Because the one thing I probably should have mentioned that I've yet to comment on is the whole Raja stuff. I do like how it's interesting that we've got this con man pretending to be a Jedi and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Because you would think there would be people that actually would exploit this and all that stuff, because there's still clearly many people that see the Jedi as defenders and protectors of the galaxy and the innocents, if you will. Especially in the rundown worlds, if you will.
Definitely.
And there would definitely be some people that would exploit it. Mm-hmm. And let's see, the con man here, Rajad, who's played by that comedian actor, who I think was pretty well spot on with the role, with what he does, and how afraid he was when Obi-Wan shows up. I have to admit, Obi-Wan was very aggressive, threatening him and all that stuff, which is probably the first non-Jedi thing I've ever seen Obi-Wan do, really.
Yeah.
But then again, he is in a bit of on a very serious mission, and then try not to get caught, and I will. But I could probably also understand maybe the anger he has at this one person doing this non-Jedi thing of charging people for help, because no Jedi would ever do that.
No, definitely not. No Jedi would ever do that.
It's against their code, which I do like how the code is brought up about how Inquisitors, in order to hunt Jedi, they always know like a Jedi cannot help themselves of trying to rescue people and all that stuff. As a result, they always end up exposing themselves, which that one Jedi did and all that stuff, helping a bartender. Never got to see him use his lightsaber, but we did see him use the Force a little bit. I wondered if he was one like a Padawan or one of the younglings that might have survived and all that stuff, but who knows? Because it was pretty young. But yeah, anyway. But yeah, so, but I do find interesting that, let's see, though granted, I missed this for the first glance of viewing the episode, so when I watched it again, he ends up at first coming to collect, the Haji tries to collect the bounty off of Kenobi, but after watching Kenobi save Leia, he seems to have a change of heart and ends up helping him by first taking out a bounty droid and then giving the coordinates. But I do like the little nice moment Obi-Wan doesn't fully trust him. He does end up recognizing his name and does try to buy time for Obi-Wan, though it doesn't really succeed, given the third sister's like mind probe thing.
Yeah.
But the one thing I think what I love the most about, let's see, these last two episodes is the moment when Obi-Wan learns that Darth Vader is alive.
Oh, I got words I could say about that. I got loads and loads of words I could say. But I'm going to let Lee finish his thoughts.
Yeah. I do like how this is probably the final thing I'm probably going to bring up from this discussion is the moment once Obi-Wan says Anakin's name, you've got the close-up of Hayden Christensen as Darth Vader. And that is like and it's done in such a menacing way. Oh yeah, one other comment thing. I do like some of the fight scenes that you had with Obi-Wan with like hand-to-hand combat and then with a blaster.
That was pretty cool. I'm not gonna lie. I actually really, really like seeing that.
I'm surprised.
I was like, wait, I know we've seen Obi-Wan fight before, but have we seen him use hand-to-hand that much?
The only time we really saw it was like briefly against General Grievous towards the end of the fight, and maybe like a little bit in the Obi-Wan and Anakin fight where I think he gave a kick to Anakin.
That's true.
But yeah, but Jedi are known to, let's see, because many people think like Jedi are just mainly lightsaber combat, but they can use hand-to-hand if necessary. But yeah, one thing I'm surprised that they haven't really done with like Kenobi when he was using the blaster against those bounty hunters, like going so uncivilized. But I think they probably figured like, okay, best not to go too far with the fans, with like the callbacks to lines and all that stuff.
Okay, honestly, I would have been okay with if they threw that line because I don't think that would have been like too throwback. I think it would have just been like, oh, okay.
Yeah, see, but yeah, because But so far they've yet to really do any callback lines to the prequel trilogy, like "Hello there." Now, granted, there's probably been a few new, let's see, quips that Obi-Wan Kenobi has said in this that I probably need to rewatch a few times.
I'm pretty sure people already come up with some memes. I mean, there's already memes already when Obi-Wan's looking over at Luke. Like that's already just a GIF in and of itself.
Yeah. So Obi-Wan is just meme of itself because memes were one of the things that led to the rise of the prequels' upcoming popularity. That's probably finally convinced Disney to start doing more prequel content, which arguably Kenobi is, besides maybe the Clone Wars, is the first major original prequel content related series.
Technically, okay, if we're going to be technical here, the first Disney prequel-related thing was Rebels. If we're going to be completely clear.
Technically, yes, but that was more tied into the original trilogy than the prequel trilogy. It did have a few Clone Wars characters in, but it's more original trilogy.
Yeah, Rebels, you could argue, is kind of like more of its own story to that.
Mm-hmm. But this is more of the something that's tied into the prequels, really.
Okay.
Let's see. Granted, there's maybe some stuff with the Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett that's tied into the prequels, but this is like the first major thing.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah. But anyway, but yes. So, but back to thing that Darth Vader. Just the eye-opening thing that gave. I think that from what I've seen some people's comments. That gave them chills. especially.
I'll take it a step further. I was watching these 2 episodes like late last night, from 11:30 to arguably 1 o'clock. And when I saw those last 2 minutes, I was like, "What? What?" Like that was my initial reaction. I was like,
Yeah, I no doubt that many people are like, "Oh, Darth Vader!" Which was probably me and all that stuff. But yeah, but I do like how they're slowly building up Darth Vader into this. You didn't, let's see, besides maybe flashbacks of like Anakin Skywalker in the first episode, this one you actually see him as the Darth Vader thing. No, granted, I am curious.
I was gonna say this is that I was actually kind of surprised that we were already there because I didn't think we were gonna get a Vader tease until like maybe episode 3. So I was like, "Oh, we're getting it early. We're getting it this early." But
Yeah.
I'm not complaining about that. I think
Which makes me wonder why this is probably why they decided that instead of having it at first, because I believe episode 1 was supposed to come out on the 25th, but they delayed it to the 27th, and then but in the treat they did also episode 2 coming out at the same time, which makes me think that meaning that we're going to get 5 weeks of Kenobi instead of 6, but not complain. But I think it's clear that they probably brought this episode because they want to get people talking about that cliffhanger.
Yeah,
and boy, it's a cliffhanger.
And I'll say this: as much praise as I'm giving this, I do have one complaint.
What's that?
I want more, damn it!
I want more, but I know I shouldn't. Sorry.
Because that's the reaction. Okay, honestly, as soon as I finished, I was like, I need more. Like, you can't just leave me here seeing my boy for like 2 seconds and then I'll come back next week.
Well, you're gonna have to probably wait next week, Lucky Chi.
Blue knows the story. When it comes to shows, I normally wait till like the season's finished and then I'll like catch up. Like, Kenobi's the one exception I made where I was like, you know, I'll break my little streak of like just waiting until it's finished and then marathon it. I was like, I'll keep up with this week to week. Now I'm just like,
let's see, your boy Hayden Christensen has returned, so you're gonna go watch it.
Can I just say one more thing? I know it's a Disney Plus show, but can we please get a Blu-ray release of this? I would love to just own this.
You would love to own the DVDs and Blu-rays of this.
I say that now. We still gotta wait and see how the other 5-ish episodes go, but
But so far, with this tease, we're probably gonna get a bit more of Darth Vader next episode. Probably some of those bits we saw in some of the trailers, of which we slowly get to see his body being built up and all that stuff.
Yeah, that too.
Yeah, but granted, I am curious to see whether or not they will if we're just only going to see Hayden as Anakin as just in the burnt up suit thing, or will we see flashbacks of when he was younger and all that stuff?
I mean, okay, so the rumor I've heard, it's funny because I normally don't keep up with rumors, but because of how entrenched is with the prequels and more so with Anakin, I was like, well, I guess I could look at two if you think. Supposedly, I don't know if this is true, but supposedly we're supposed to be getting Clone Wars flashbacks at some point within this Disney Plus series. So if we get some flashbacks to where, let's say, Hayden and Ian McGregor are like de-aged to where how they looked in the prequel trilogy, then who knows?
It's possible, which my guess is that since Obi-Wan has just found out that Anakin's alive, he may just be having some flashbacks of some of the more fonder memories they might have had with each other.
Yeah.
But that's probably the best way you can get young Anakin. Other than that, let's see. I assume that we'll probably get a bit of burnt Darth Vader images shown with him again, possibly with maybe similar to what happened with Ahsoka. A bit of the mask destroyed, and you see the man that was used to be before there. But yeah, so that's all I can think of. But yeah. So yeah. Anyway, I expect that next episode that he's probably going to question the third sister for her behavior and all that stuff because he's really determined to find Kenobi.
Definitely.
But yeah. Anyway, if there anything else you want to say, or is that it?
Well, if I'm to rate the episodes, okay, I'm gonna say Amazing Plus, arguably perfection, but I think I'm gonna give it Amazing Plus because I was a bit salty that we only got 2 seconds with that cliffhanger tease. But on the other hand, I'm okay with it. It's what's in it, guys.
So I think it both episodes 9.5 out of 10 for you or something, right?
Mm-hmm. And let me tell you this, guys. For me, that's rare to give 2 episodes back to back the same rating. That's rare for me to do that.
Yeah, I think the first episode is definitely a 10 out of 10 for me and all that stuff. Let's see. It's like the characterization they did with Obi Wan. There wasn't much action to it, but it's more focusing on the character of Obi Wan, as well as the character of Leia, if you will, who's arguably probably the Grogu for Kenobi.
Yeah.
Going forward. And all that stuff, but yeah. And, well, from what I can tell, some people found the second episode to be weaker than the first, but...
oh, really?
Yeah.
I felt the second episode to be stronger, in my opinion.
I guess it's just more, I guess they like the more... It's just some people like the more character stuff in the first episode.
That's fine.
And might be...
And I'm not saying the first episode's bad, because the first episode's like... Really
but yeah, but I'd probably also give the second episode a, let's see, 10 out of 10, or maybe a 9.5. Now, that might be just more because at first I thought the Haji's turn to helping Obi-Wan seemed a bit sudden when he was like, oh, we're going to collect the bounty. But then I saw like the cat, let's see, granted I might have blinked for a second, the shot of him just seeing Obi-Wan helping, let's see, Leia and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Other than that, let's see, both great episodes. I'm looking forward to the next 4 that are coming out. And thank you for joining me for this, Lucky Chief, for this premiere of Kenobi. And I'm hopefully you'll be able to join me for the rest of the episode reviews.
Oh, I plan
later.
Are you kidding? Like, after these 2 episodes, I'm planning on.
Yeah. Every week we will probably review Kenobi until that gets finished.
Mm-hmm.
I believe, hopefully, each on a Saturday or, let's see, or maybe a Friday or something.
Yeah.
When it comes out.
Unless something happens in our schedule, then, something.
Yeah. Because we both have work, and also I do tend to review My Hero Academia with Margarita on a Friday.
Yeah, which I gotta touch back on.
No, granted, I will probably also. No, granted, I believe. Let's see, for your information. Let's see, Lucky Chi. It might be a few weekends for Sophia's future, but enough of that. But yeah, but anyway, we're not here to talk about My Hero. We're talking Star Wars. So, for those of you who have listened to this stream or who will listen to this stream, have managed to last this long, thank you for watching. Let's see. I hope you enjoyed listening to what we had to say. I am Blue Starsaber.
Lucky Chi.
And we are signing off. Thank you for joining us, everyone. May the Force be with you.
And he will die.
I should have figured you'd use that line after that Avatar pick, which I will admit, very fitting, by the way.
Thank you.
I'm finally glad that my Avatar pick has finally fitted to a series that matches it. But heck, that's just me. Anyway, thank you all for joining us. May the Force be with you, and goodbye.
Peace.